Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lillicrosse Season 2 tournament. I'm Ray, and I'm joined here by our guest commentator, Psyche. And Psyche, you want to introduce the
All
match?
right. Yes, I will. Today, guys, we are going to be having CNCE versus RKO. I'm sure you guys have been anticipating this match because it's going to be a spicy one. For today, we have the players on the Survivor side, CNCE, going as the Hunter first. We're going to be having, I believe... Ray, help me out here. It doesn't say which person's on which team. Now I'm looking at it.
Corazon.
Thank
Corazon's our
you.
hunter for this match, and we have RK Angle, RK Frappe, Clue, RK Serenity? I can't read their name on Discord. But those are
Dang,
our
that's
survivors
tough.
for this matchup. And I think we're playing on Ever Sleeping Town for round 1.
That indeed. The Ever Sleeping Town is a pretty typical start. It's like a map that's not survivor sided. It's more on the hunter side favor. So the survivors have to work together extra well if they want to beat the top tier hunters. By the way, Ray, you speak Spanish, right?
No, I did not, but I
You
listen to
don't?
Spanish music. I listen to Spanish
Oh,
music, but I don't know any Spanish.
that must have been. I could have sworn you said, but never mind. I guess someone else told me. Because I'm like thinking, she's saying corazones corazon.
That's
I don't
their
know.
name. That's the hunter's name, Psyche. And actually, I do recognize this hunter. I'm pretty sure they main opera. I mean, obviously, let's think of tournament here. I'm pretty sure like all the first round hunters need to play at least opera or Ivy. But I think this hunter also played in IVT as the main opera player for their team. So maybe we'll be seeing that round 1.
Indeed, indeed. You never know, though. You never know. We might be seeing some crazy stuff. Anyway, we're going to be going into round 1. We got a pretty typical band. Lawyer, he's a pretty good, decent counter. Decent, not a great, but decent counter against Opera Singer just because of his veteran bonus. And he's a forced chase target, meaning that you can start in a nice cutting area that the hunter's forced to chase you in. Just because you're a decoder, as well as banning the priestess. No complaints there. It is ever sleeping. We guys, come on. We all know how broken priestess is on ever sleeping with those portals across the map. Can't be having that. And in response, the survivors will be going Seer first officer. Seer, not as great against opera singer, but maybe they're thinking of something else, like a shadow, where the owl would be really, really valuable against. And first officer, good against both. Hello,
Yeah, and we'll see
Ray.
an antiquarian band. Okay, I'm talking. Shh, what I'm talking. An antiquarian band looks like it may very well be an opera, since Anti really does counter opera. And in response, the survivors have picked Acrobat, which also is also a really great solo kiter. With all 3 balls, you are for sure to do at least a 60-second kite. And the last band will be Gravekeeper.
Indeed, Gravekeeper. That's an interesting one. Gravekeeper, when there's already a rescuer on the team, maybe this survivor team likes to go double rescuer. Who knows? In either case, usually we don't see more than one rescuer, so instead, survivors are going to go with another survivor that the hunter didn't get to ban. Now that they've banned Gravekeeper, and that's going to be Cheerleader. Not a bad pick at all. Really solid against Shadow, by the way, just because you can escape that gravestone that she places on you before you get 20, meaning that it takes more than 2 scares to now get a hit on you, which is very, very important. It just makes it a lot more difficult for the Shadow to get you that way. So we'll see here. It really depends on what this hunter is going to do. This is not a super easy choice here. The hunter is going to have a tough choice here because it's not necessarily obvious whether they should go Opera to counter stuff like Seer and Cheerleader, or should they go Shadow but instead get countered by the Seer or Cheer. I suppose if the hunter goes after Seer, the Owl's a lot less good. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still really good if you can like look at her face and then put an owl right before you get stunned. So we'll see here. My favorite part about
Yeah,
this is reading the people's builds here, though.
oh, yeah, palette boo. Maybe that's a sign of great power on that build. But yeah, it looks like right here, Seer or Cheerleader might be very well like the first chase, since they're definitely easier targets for Opera, let's say. And if the hunter chooses to go Ivy as well. Oh, actually, we'll see a Wax Artist round 1, so no Opera and no Ivy.
Rest in peace, Opera Singer Ivy. The era of wax artists is here. Who needs them round one? Instead, we got wax artists. I wonder, does it really line up with his bands, or was this hunter planning on going something else initially? Gravekeeper, yeah, it could be a little bit tough for wax artists, but also not the world's worst thing. Banning Antiquarian, I feel like he was initially planning to go something else here. Just because Waxer is just so good against the survivors that he banned, maybe not like the best, but definitely Waxer's here looking at the survivor team. Not the worst pick either, just because that first option here, they struggle a lot more. That being said, their abilities can still be used well if the survivor can outplay the Waxers, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, not an easy map to counter kite any hunter on. Definitely going to require very good game knowledge on the survivor's end.
Yeah, and looks like Seer or Acro will most likely be the first chase. I mean, who knows? Maybe Wax Artist will just want to go all the way across the map for the cheerleader, but I'm thinking that Seer might be the easier chase here, especially with the freeze. You're kind of easily baiting out his owl versus, if Wax chooses to go for Acro, Wax doesn't really know exactly when the Seer might be spectating. So I'm thinking Seer may be that first chase for this Wax Artist.
Absolutely. And more importantly, I feel like, well, maybe not more importantly, but another factor is Acrobat is also near Graveyard, which is an amazing place to do so good kites against Waxers because he cannot shoot over those gravestones. Maybe in certain spots he can, but very likely he will miss the survivor if they're too close to the gravestone. So I have a feeling I'm going to side with you here. I think he is going to go with the Seer here, Ray, just because it's just less counterable. For the Seer here than it is for the Acrobat. But we'll see here going into round one with CNCE hunting first versus RK as the survivors. Let's go into round one. Right on the ciphers already, and so is the chase.
Yeah, blocking off that window. Seer has that suicide build, so it's going to be broken windows and flywheel, which should really help his kite, especially since he's the weakest chase right now. And yeah, blocking off all the areas so that Seer can't loop and forced to transition out to an open hallway.
Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate. Too bad that the Seer didn't fully commit to the PAL because the PAL was still vaultable there. Now he's going to be in a little bit of an awkward situation here. I mean, that doesn't shoot over, but it will unfortunately take a hit right here. And now, if he has a warp here, which I can't tell if he has a warp. If he has a warp, this would be a good warp. Fortunately, warp is not up. He does have warp. Doesn't really matter because the Seer couldn't get behind a wall in time. Beautiful flywheel. Wow. That was clean. And that pallet coming back to bite him, but it doesn't matter. And he died.
Yeah, Waxers will not have to use warp for this down, so warp will still be available either for that potential rebound that the Seer may try to do, or to block off those ciphers a little bit better and give some pressure to the survivors decoding.
Indeed. Really, definitely a good start there for the Seer. If I was the Waxers, I'm kind of surprised he didn't break that pallet sooner, honestly, because that's what really destroys this loop from happening. But either way, luckily for him, the Seer didn't stay there too long, and now he's going to get a pretty good chase out of it. Only one cipher done so far, getting a lot of progress on this first officer. He might even, well, maybe not stop the rescue, but I was thinking maybe like a stall here? No, not going to be enough. Almost got it past half, but not quite. He won't even be able to stun him at 100 now because they already used that up. At least he could have maybe gotten like a second hit there if he got a stayed at 96. But nonetheless, not bad. It will at least guarantee a tie, most potentially. But dang, this year going all the way in the corner, gonna make it tough for this Rexers to chair.
It was a really good rescue from First Officer, though. Just right at the 50 mark, and he didn't take any damage. So in the case that they do want to rescue again, First Officer could go right ahead, use another watch, and yeah, be completely full health for the save. And Warp is still available, so wondering when we're going to see that be used by our Wax Artist.
Not anytime soon, but for now he's got to get this chair out first, and it's a little bit scary because he's got hot wax. This is not a guaranteed rescue by any means, but he's doing a good job mind gaming. Unfortunately, we also have another survivor here, meaning that there's not a ton of deco going on. Maybe he gets run over by the tram. You never know. One of these days, maybe. Oh, tram is here. Tram is here, but it's probably not going to make a difference for Substers going down. Cheerleader's trying to help out. Seer's going to get on the tram. It looks like maybe not. He's just trying to bait it. Okay, he gets on now. And now that's a wonderful warp from the Waxers. Oh! Well, I think it'll still be fine. It's still fine, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be a little close, though. He's actually not going to be all the way at the... Nah, he'll make... Oh my goodness!
Damn! Oh, this is really unfortunate for the wax artist.
Dude, the way the tram curves, people are not ready for that. Oh, no.
And he's going straight to graveyard, too. This might be a good chance for the Seer to rebound and for that last Cypher to get started and maybe potentially done in time for him to survive and get a 4-man endgame.
He's just got to use these pallets in the right order. I would have definitely used this pallet first. The unfortunate thing is he ran towards the window, not expecting him to block it, which wasted a lot of distance there. Now the Seer isn't in as nice of a spot as if he didn't run for the window. Nonetheless, this is a good rebound, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to last very long in this area just because it's just not good against Waxers. You guys see how much he's struggling here. There's no way to avoid the wax, and he will go down. But yeah, nonetheless, that was really fortunate that they were able to have the Waxers get run over by the tram. Because of the way the tram curves on turns, it actually barely hits outside of the track range, and the Waxers was not expecting that. Maybe he knew about it, but he just forgot at that moment, and unfortunately, he got hit there, and, well, it's looking like a pretty simple tie so far. I don't know what he can do to get back into this game. He's going to need to do something in-game here, Ray.
Yeah, there's no warp up right now. Cypher's basically prime. They can just pop it right now, and first officer's already going to that gate as well. So yeah, definitely looking like a solid tie, but you never know what might happen. We might get that first officer and that acrobat down at the same time.
I mean, as
it
long
seems
as
like changing targets for the first officer here as well.
Yes, that's true. And he doesn't have a watch. Now, it is a pretty fast down, but as long as they weren't hugging each other when one person goes down, which they're not, they're already across the other side of the map, the other survivors, then this should be a pretty simple tie. Acrobat already ahead of the game, leaving that gate as soon as possible. Even with the warp, it's not going to be enough, only taking him halfway across the map. And just like that, Team RK takes a tie here. Nonetheless, maybe thanks to a little bit of tram help. But hey, it looked like they were in a pretty decent spot even before that tram hit, with the Seer leaving that area, going to die in a completely solid, like a, not a, what's the word I'm looking for, Ray? Like a complete lonely area away from all the Cyphers.
A really isolated area, which is graveyard, and last Cypher being all the way at Fake Gate. Definitely bought a lot of time and let that Cypher not be interrupted at all by the wax artist. Really good gameplay from the survivors right there. I was a little surprised that they had 2 people going for the save, but it ended up working out really well, so they could guarantee Seer getting on that tram and just buying that extra time. And yeah, tram was really on their side that game. But yeah, even from the Hunter, though, that was a really good early game. Getting that owl out with still the 96 wax was basically giving him like a free hit and a really quick down. But yeah, survivors played really well to counter that.
Definitely. On the one hand, you could say, oh, cheerleaders shouldn't have body block, because look at that. They didn't have enough ciphers in the end because she couldn't spend that time decoding. But on the other hand, if she wasn't there to body block, the Seer may not have necessarily made it onto the tram if there weren't 2 other people there body blocking. Just the first officer didn't look like it was going to be enough there. First officer, as you guys saw, went down almost immediately, but the cheerleader was then there to help out, so that was not a problem, and that's why he got on the tram. So you could say either way, maybe she should have stayed on the side, but then Seer probably would have gone down sooner. So it's like a win-loss situation in both scenarios. Either way, worked out in the end for them, and they do take home the tie. And Hunter as well taking home a tie. Nothing wrong with that. It just means that both teams are now even, so no one has an advantage. What it does mean now is that the responding side, so now it'll be CNC surviving and RK hunting, their sides now, the second half sides, survivor side of CNCE and hunter side of RK, they both now have a chance to bring it home for their team, get a round 1 victory, and maybe take a 2-round winning game. That would be nice and easy, so they don't have to go into a round 3 for either side, depending on who wins the round, of course. But we'll see.
Yeah, so CNCE survivors need to either respond with another tie, potentially a 3-man or 4-man win to take that round. But if the RK Hunter takes a win of 3 people or 4 people, I mean, they've got the round then. And I actually in IVT I played against the CNCE team, and I would say that they did a pretty good job. I mean, in round one, Fafa got 3-man by the team, so might be a bit of a challenge here.
Definitely, and Fafa is a very well-known hunter in NAU, mostly known for his exploit, but just in general, he has very good hunter's game knowledge as well. Not just exploit, but just because in by effect, when you play more difficult hunters like exploit, you also have to carry along better game knowledge about the game because you just don't have as much capability as something like Opera, which can kind of brute force her way through every paladin window, and you'll probably still end up getting a tie or maybe even a win. As opposed to something like Exploit or Wu Chang, these kinds of hunters, they require more game knowledge about the game, and nonetheless, still able to take home a 3-man against Fafa? That's a pretty big accomplishment. So we'll see here. CNCE definitely has it in them. But I've seen DTM before. I've heard of DTM before, and he's also a very good hunter. You guys can see he's already a dragon rank. I don't know if you guys can see on the screen, but he is dragon at the moment. Maybe not like the most early in the season, but I'd say this is pretty early in the season. It means that he's been playing a lot and has been playing consistently. So, I've seen him a lot for his clerk. I don't remember if he plays anything else, but whenever I see him in rank, I usually see him playing as clerk. There we go. That's how I remember him. There we go.
Yeah, he's also one of our fellow commentators, so let's see what DTM has to bring to this matchup. We'll be going shortly into picks and bans, so yeah, maybe, DTM will pull out that clerk round one. I guess considering it's a community tournament, it's a great chance to play maybe more of your specialty hunters. And not everyone has to go Opera Ivy round one, Sometimes what you need is a clerk or not sure what else DTM plays. Maybe, Wheel, maybe Wax as well. But we'll see Priestess Seer ban right away. It's pretty standard for Ever Sleeping.
Yep. I mean, it really just depends what the survivors go here. I mean, if they don't play around Clerk, if they go stuff like Dancer and they don't pre-drop the pallets, I suppose Clerk, it's not so easy to say this Clerk counter Dancer or not. Because, if Dancer presets up those pallets where you're not dropping them in front of the Clerk, then she's going to have a harder time. If the Dancer's doing it in front of the Clerk, then she can obviously record the Dancer when she drops the pallet. Acrobat, though, a very good counter against Clerk in almost every single situation, especially on Ever Sleeping, where you can actually jump over the hole inside of Corner House or Geisha House, leave a mud ball at the bottom, and then vault the window. Clerk has to fall through that, gets a mud ball on her. That is great value. You can do that with any ball, really, but mostly you do it with the mud ball. That's very, very sad if you have to deal with that with Clerk, along with other places that Acrobat can jump off of, like the Corner House building. You can jump off the stairway into a different area. If he doesn't want to use the building itself, he can block off the area underneath with his debuffs. I mean, it really just depends. You could even jump over certain walls that Clerk can't get over or shoot over using any ability. So it really depends. I'm over here yapping, and the Hunter already banned Toy Merchant, which is another good counter against Clerk, and Mercenary, another good counter against Clerk. Though that being said, interesting. Weaving Clown. I was going to say for Softster is also pretty decent just because he does get rid of that page ability, and also you can now record it for Seltzer in his watch. So interesting. Weeping Clown, I did not expect
and
that.
Weeping Clown are pretty good. Since Clerk, gets countered a lot by Harass, so it's good they have some more consistent harassing from Antiquarian as well as Weeping Clown with that Rocket. That Rocket should really give you so much distance against the Clerk, so hoping to see some really good support here. This is a really support-focused team. Dancer, put the boxes in the middle, get that Weeping Clown's Rocket. You should make it all the way to Graveyard, no matter what part of the map you're on.
Indeed. I like the way the bands are colored. We got red, blue, yellow, and green. It's like the rainbow over here. I like it. Random fact of the day. It's red, blue, yellow, and green. You guys ever just look at the bands like that? Sometimes I do. But yeah, exactly agreed with you, Ray. Weeping Clown, ever since his buff, he can actually harass now. He can actually let go of the rocket faster than the Hunter can drop. And we see a Wheel, which, just like you said earlier about harassment, Ray, Wheel is not that great against harassment either is the problem. Happens to be Antiquarian has to get close at least, but Weeping Clown can be problems for breaking Wheel. So it really depends here. Maybe he will go after the Weeping Clown first, because that wouldn't be as good. His ability wouldn't be so good against the Wheel form, but Then again, if he just stuns the wheel when he comes out of the wheel form, then there's not a whole lot the hunter can do while the Weeping Clown just gets free distance while he's stunned. So we'll see here. It really just depends. Maybe it just depends on the area. I know he's probably not going to go after anyone at Graveyard. That's just going to be an instant window vault every single time. It's going to be very rough to deal with that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Go after someone else away from a window.
Oh, maybe not. Well, we'll see. Wheel can just, get across the map in like a matter of seconds. So anyone here is honestly a target for a first chase. I mean, even if you think that you may not get chased at Graveyard, I have seen some people just rotate away, and that just puts them at a really good position to be targeted by the hunter. So, we'll see what happens. Honestly, I feel like these survivors have a really good ability against Wheel, like all of them. The boxes as support, when Wheel's out of his wheel form, it's a little bit difficult to get those traps and get those hits because of the slowdown. Acro can easily avoid, getting trapped by moving around with the ball and then just jumping when the wheel gets too close. And yeah, Weeping Cloud distance. Antiquarian as well, just stunning. So this may be a challenge for the wheel. We'll see.
This is definitely an interesting hunter pick here, just because you definitely make a good point here, Ray, that all these survivors, whether they pre-set up their ability for the dancer's case or just jump away or use their ability when the wheel comes out, it all makes it so difficult for the wheel to ever catch up after she comes out of wheel or he comes out of wheel. And in the dancer's case, did you know that even though the wheel cannot have debuffs on him, the dancer debuffs actually does apply on the wheel form for some reason? I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Well, not so cool for the wheel. Let's see what he does first here, though. I'm gonna go after the person at Graveyard. I don't think he will. I think he's just passing by. Yeah, okay. It would have definitely been foolish to come out of wheel just for that single window. But we'll see here. Going to the middle, very secluded area.
Looks like, Weeping Clown's gonna be his first target. Oh, already got a spike. Using that rocket right away.
But he misses the trap, ends up throwing it behind a hay bale. I don't know where that was going. Look at this. He's going to throw the rocket at a wall and get the speed bonus out of it. I think he did. Not entirely sure. But it's not like he's going to go anywhere. If only he stopped by like a window or something. Just so it's not so easy for him to... Oh my goodness, he almost got hit! He got down! Oh, that's going to save the game for him,
I was going to say, Wheel needs to get this down before that rocket cooldown is back up. But that pal stun, really, really good from our CNCE survivor here.
Definitely. And look at that. Doesn't even worry about the trap. Why does he not try to dodge a trap right there, guys? Because he knows he has a ton of distance. Doesn't matter if he gets caught in that trap. Wheel over here just trying to get close, just to get rid of the pallets so that he can't go up corner house, I suppose. But once again, that boost from the rocket, ever since they buffed his rocket, he does get more speed at the beginning of his rocket and slows down towards the end, which is good for hunters like Wheel that try to snipe you out at the very beginning. Miss the trap again, though. Another box here. I almost wonder why that's not a slow box, but I suppose you're worrying about survivors getting trapped from far, so you just want them to vault it faster. Interesting. Interesting.
And
I don't see any slow boxes.
Have confined as well. This wheel's only brought, it looks like, insolence and trump card. So, this might be difficult chasing here at Graveyard, especially. Oh, another pallet stun from the Weeping Clown. This is already over a 3-cipher kite right here.
A little bit awkward rocket there. I was thinking he's gonna throw it at the wheel so that he gets that stun and then runs behind some walls there, just because it's a very enclosed area full of walls, making it awkward for the rockets to be used. Look at this. He's running into the corner here, guys, because he knows he's not gonna survive with that pallet because of a trap. All it takes is one trap to block out that pallet. So he's going into the corner just to... Okay, I guess Hunter realizes you cannot chair here, otherwise they're gonna get a win here. He realizes this and he's gonna leave, but as I was saying, if he got picked up there, it would have taken a long time to chair, just securing their 4-person, not escape, but having 4 people out. Look at that, the tram blocking out the aggro. That is so unlucky, but he can still jump over. And he got hit by the red ball. That's no good. Now he can't use the trap.
Ooh, yeah, really great value from that ball from the acrobat, even though this area is easy to trap in. Oh, and we'll see a trap and probably... Oh, misses the hit, actually, and the acro has another ball to use.
Too bad he didn't use that ball at the pallets behind him. Okay, or he could just miss a trap. But he's anyway going to take a hit here. If only he had used that mud ball to not necessarily just try to get away, but more just to keep by those pallets, because Wheel's having a tough time there. Definitely would have been better than running out in the open here and unfortunately giving a hit. It's not like it's going to matter, though. because look at how well they're doing. It's going to be really hard for this wheel to make a comeback at this point. We need to see something happen in the end game, but you never know. They don't have a last cipher super high up. At any point, it only just takes 2 spikes and a trap to have someone on chair. It's not so easy. I mean, Antiquarian, though, is also not going to make it easy. All he has to do is hit the stick on the wheel 3 times, and boom, 12 seconds of no ability. Or I guess 2 times in that case. But yeah, we'll see here. Let's see what she does. She only does it 1 time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, I don't know, really.
Like a hit. Oh, yeah, it takes the hit right there. Blink is still available, so maybe just use that to get it down at some point. But Cypher hasn't been touched, actually. 36 and 8% has been the progress for a little while. It seems like they're healing, but they've gotten found. Oh, but they did finish the heal, so maybe we'll see. Oh, someone has also started a new Cypher as well, so looking good for the survivors for sure.
Definitely. That was a good blink. Great trap, by the way, as well. Not getting stuck on any walls there. That's definitely what the wheel DTM here needs to make a comeback. Every little bit counts. Unfortunately, losing some speed there, so you actually can't break the pallet. You need to maintain some speed, else you can't break that pallet. And right here, Dancer dropping off another fast box. I could have sworn the blue music box does affect the wheel. I would think it would be helpful to reduce how fast the wheel comes out, especially because it would affect the full presence too, but I guess we're not going to see that. I guess we're just going to see the fast boxes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn the blue music box does slow down. Maybe not the wheel speed, but at least when the wheel's trying to come out, I could have sworn it does reduce that, so you have more time to like reach a window or pallet or something. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. But either way,
the speed of the interaction of getting out of wheel. But yeah, last cipher is actually about to be primed right here, so might not matter too much for this down. Probably see a 4-man endgame and is kind of looking like a win for the survivors. Oh, and the pop happens while Acro is kiting right here in the open. Looks like DTM's going to leave and go for a gate.
Indeed. Really clean dodges from the Acrobat there. That is not easy to do, guys. So now the wheel realizes, well, I can't be chasing this Acrobat because they're going to just open the gates. I got to go after the Antiquarian. And, I mean, he doesn't have detention, but it's not going to matter. Really clean trap there, making so that she cannot avoid it. If only she flywheeled it. Not sure if she did have flywheel available or if she's even using it. Using it this game, but just like that, DTM is only going to get 1 survivor here. Maybe we'll get a tram run over? Nah, we're not. The tram was right behind him. Not going to matter, though. 3 escapes. So right here. Arcade taking like 3 escape.
That means CNCE will have won this round 1. And going into round 2, it'll be a little bit of an uphill battle for RK.
Indeed. So, I mean, they can still get a 3 kill or a 3 escape of their own when they have their survivor team go up again. They can still tie this up, but it is going to mean that it's going to be an uphill battle from here. Any victory they get against the other team right now is just going to be evening it up. So really, it all depends on what happens here in round 2. Remember, guys, if RK loses another round and then they just end up tying, or maybe lose another half round, then that'll be it. CNCE will take the win in just 2 rounds, which would be detrimental that we're not even going to see a 3 round in that case, because the 3 round is where the spicy stuff happens, where all the nice juicy lemons and lime, they get together, they make a beautiful feast of flavor. Maybe not for eating, but just for enjoying for your eyes.
Something else. All right. Well, I mean, seeing the previous match, yeah, I think maybe Wheel wasn't exactly the play there, as, yeah, Ever Sleeping is good for Wheel, but also has really strong areas against Wheel, and we saw Weeping Clown pretty much utilize almost all of them, and do a really good kite for his team. So, you know, depending on what map we're going to see next, maybe RK needs to take advantage of some maybe more support-focused team comps. But if I do recall correctly, one thing is CNCE has chosen a Rescuer as one of their global bans, though. So I don't think First Officer can be played in any of the further rounds. So, you know, they may be limited to only like Merc or Wilding or Gravekeeper Journalist. I think usually personally I would not ban a Rescuer permanently through the global ban. So, maybe that might give the hunter some advantage, as maybe like some of the players may not be used to the other rescuers.
It really depends. Maybe I'm just biased here, but come on. If you can play one rescuer, you can probably play other rescuers. They do just press a button after all, unless you're mercenary. Then you
Okay,
have to know how to control.
listen. I I think I prefer to play
Yes?
first officer because I may mess up my elbow pad here and there, and
Okay.
makes me a little bit not so confident to play Merc. So you never know. Like maybe they really need that first officer to come out first, and the rest of their team comps may just be no rescuer at all. Since they seem like they don't need that many rescuers, I personally would prefer to play first officer so I can just run around a bit with the watch and not die to a terror shock. So,
Sounds
we'll
like a
see.
skill issue from Ray's end. Is
Okay,
it Ray?
okay.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe it's just
True,
me.
true. Mercenary is not as easy of a character as people make him out to be, because when you do be playing first officer, it is pretty easy to just run in the open. It's a pretty big brain dead compared to mercenary. You have to activate your giga brain and press a button to go 5 million miles ahead. Value. Perfectly balanced, by the way, but what I mean to say is that it is difficult to control the elbow pad. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know the movements and how to do those beautiful 90-degree elbow pads right down the basement. Oh, love to do those. They're so satisfying. Do a guy to help you out, Ray. In fact, I think I already did one.
You know
Let
what?
me link it to you in your DM.
Oh yeah, I think I definitely need that.
Got you, homie. Don't worry.
I
There's a
I've
basement guide
seen
for you.
I've seen myself do some questionable elbow pads, and I choose not to admit them sometimes. I'll just say, uh-oh, I got stuck on something, instead of, oh, that was actually my fault.
Uh-oh, I think we have a problem on the image on the stream. It says that RKO is RK. Sorry, RKO. RK is winning apparently. It's been changed now.
Okay.
It's been changed, guys. CNCE is actually 5 and RK is actually 3. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That was nothing. It's gone now. Okay, right? Right? It's gone. Yeah, it's definitely gone now. Forget about it. It wasn't
Just
there.
a little mistake. Just a little mistake.
What mistake?
But don't
What
worry.
mistake? What? What mistake?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
never
say any
happened,
mistake.
so
Exactly.
what map do you think they'll Oh, actually we have chosen a map, and it is Moonlit for round 2. Pretty good map for both sides, I would say, depending, I guess, what hunter you play, honestly. But especially with that roller coaster, that should really give survivors an advantage to move across the map. Coordinate someone as a rescue spawning bridge. You could get them to turn the stop off, and if for, let's say, somebody at first stop or 2-story is kiting, they can make their way over there and get a free ride all the way to the other side of the map.
Indeed, that is very true. Now, you could think of it like that, or you could think about it like maybe CNCE just really wanted to reward themselves after that last match and go on an amusement park, ride the carousel, go on a nice roller coaster ride, all while being chased by a bloodthirsty hunter. What could be than going on a scary roller coaster? A bloodthirsty hunter right behind you, riding the roller coaster with you. That is true reward. That is why they're actually going on Moonlit. But no, Moonlit is just a really strong survivor map. So CNCE definitely going to be locking in, say, stuff like Acrobats, stuff like Patient. Acrobat's not permabanned, right? I don't think he is. So the Acrobat will
Acro
almost for
is
sure.
permabanned. Acro and
Well,
Dancer are
rest in
permabanned.
peace.
So
Yikes, never mind. Patient is still really good though. Forget I ever said that. And did you know that airplanes can actually glitch over the tracks with his jetpack? I say glitching over, but some people say it's a feature. I'm sorry, but Geisha glitching through walls is not a feature. Just like how with Mr. Airplane is glitching over the tracks to get over the other side just like Acrobat can. I wouldn't call that a feature, but hey, I'm a survivor player, so I'll take it. He can also do the exact same thing without having to use his jetpack float. Fun fact. In either case, though, very scary survivors to go against Moonlit. I think I will shut up now and let Ray talk for now. What do you think about that, Ray?
Yeah. I would say the only issue maybe the survivors have is if somebody goes down on one side of the map and you have the strongest rescuers on the other side, that might be a little more difficult as, you know, the hunter can spot them out even without wanted or force somebody who's weaker at rescuing to have to go for that save in order for it to be, you know, before half or for it to happen at all. We'll see a cord ban maybe here. Cord's pretty good on the survivor side, gives a lot of support, especially on Moonlit. You know, Cord's gun is basically her tide, so Cord doesn't need to bring tide. Cord can play like Broken Windows or Flywheel and use the gun if she's rescuing as a tide so that the survivor can maybe rebound or just get to an area that's better for the survivor team that are decoding to die at. So yeah, Cord and Aeroplane is banned here.
I'm telling you, Ray, it's so dumb how he can just glitch over the railing. Like, what is this? Like, not the railing, but the tracks. Like, what is this? Okay. Anyway, more seriously.
I was thinking about that the whole time.
More seriously, guys. Indeed, yes, everything Ray is saying is true. It's definitely a versatile survivor. The coordinator, not my favorite, but it is a pretty open map, which means it's not impossible, obviously, but it's a lot more difficult to find places where it can hide behind a tree so that the coordinator cannot reliably shoot the gun. There are times, especially on Arms Factory or Hospital or places like Church, where if you're not in the open, the hunter can just gradually gain distance on you, and you just have to risk your flare gun, and they might have to you might have to risk it when they're near a wall and they might dodge it. So with coordinator, you really have to be thinking ahead when you shoot the gun. But all in all, it is an ability that can help not only herself but her teammates. Kind of like a Seer Owl, but on the chair, if you think about it like that. But either case,
while Psyche was yapping, we've got an Embalmer and Patient pick. As Psyche said, Patient's super good on this map. Great on like the stops and just in general getting a lot of distance on Moonlit. And Embalmer pick seems like they are trying to play it safe here in case, you know, they run into a hunter that they're not so well versed against. Embalmer's a great pick to get a tie because he can bring that Broken Windows Flywheel build and still survive with that coffin. And the survivors also have picked Antiquarian, and our last two bans were Cheerleader and Merc. So yeah, maybe they're gonna pick Wilding, I would say. Wilding, Gravekeeper, good choices.
First
Officer. Okay. First
All
Officer.
Right,
First Officer's great. I think the only issue on such a big map is he can't make it super far in a super short amount of time like Merc or Wilding can. But no worries, First Officer is still really strong. Rescuer just need to get prepared, and hopefully that communication is great so that they can tell him early, hey, you need to go for the rescue. And yeah, we'll see what the hunter responds with.
Yep, pretty much. We're seeing everyone changing their builds here. Embalmer has Sui Speed. Patient has Kite. Antiquarian has 9 kites. Okay. Broken Windows probably in that case. And First Officer has Rescue. Who would have guessed? I thought he would have taken a Sui build for sure. But anyway, guys, we have a different color scheme for the bands. We have yellow, black, orange maybe, and green. I mean, I just love looking at the colors. And we got white as the survivor. By the way, banning Sculptor? Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Possibly? Maybe they recognize this hunter. I don't recognize this hunter personally, but
I do.
Maybe they just haven't practiced against Sculptor. But yeah, Wax Artist. Oh, not Wax Artist.
I think it's Kuroshima. Maybe somebody else. Right? Is this Kuroshima?
Right.
It might be.
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. It is. It is. We got confirmation, boys. It is, and he's gonna be going in for the Wax Artist. He does like to play Wax Artist, a little bit of Sculptor. He likes to troll around a bit. And we'll see. He's just a really good, though, hunter in general. And so is Wax Artist on Moonlit specifically. Just because there's not a lot of places to hide behind walls. There are a couple, though. Man, people be sleeping on the 2 pouts in the middle or the windows behind tent. People be sleeping on those. But that being said, the whole rest of on the other side of the map, that other side of the map is really bad against Wax Artist. So we'll see here. Besides God Corner, that whole other side of the map with first stop and second stop, that side you don't want to really be on if you're against Wax Artist. So we'll see what happens here. Wax Artist is going to spawn in the corner, which is going to push the Antiquarian onto the side of the map that she wants to go on, which honestly, that is the better area to kite against Wax Artist. That being said, Antiquarian is not as good against Wax Artist, and who says he's not going to go after the Embalmer on top of that? And he's probably going to carry Teleport, I'm guessing, Warp. Anyway, I'm just speculating at this point. Let's take a look at the builds, Ray.
Yeah, so Broken Windows from both Antiquarian and Patient. And yeah, we see Embalmer with that broken windows flywheel. So, if he's first kite, that should really help him do a better kite. Still, Embalmer is pretty weak in chase wise since, has no other abilities except his coffin. So you never know, he might be that first chase. Antiquarian, if Waxers chooses to go for Antiquarian as well, he can just block off that window at the top. In the case that she, for some reason, doesn't rotate and tries to go up the stairs, that could be a free hit as well, considering, Waxart is pretty strong in such an open area and he can block off pretty much anything over here. But yeah, game will start soon. Good luck to both teams. And yeah, we'll have to see RK's Hunter hopefully make things easier for their survivors and potentially get a win.
Indeed. I think it's really interesting that Antiquarian has Broke Bonus, by the way. We don't always see that, so they definitely anticipated some sort of hard counter to Antiquarian like a Waxer. So that's really cool to see. But nonetheless, we're going to see round 2, CNCE surviving first, I believe. Pretty sure, right? Yep, it is. And we're going to see Antiquarian, instead of going straight towards the other side of the map, going to rotate the Hunter a bit, troll him around the building, which is is actually not going to see where she went immediately. You might guess that she's going behind the building, but at this point, look how far away she is. Is it even worth it? Probably not.
Yeah,
so instead, he's going to opt for the patient.
There.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. He might have not expected that.
And Waxars actually also has a faster walk speed than most of the hunters, so she probably tried to do that in case, going across the bridge might have given her a lot of free wax, which she didn't want to give up, especially since, stunning will give her extra. But yeah, patient first chase here, looping, 4-stop, of course, really good area, but still means that Wax can easily shoot a lot of wax in all parts of the 4-stop, so might see him get a hit soon.
I mean, interesting. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't use a hook right there because it would have forced out a warp. At least then he would have forced out a warp. Because now if he uses the hook and he's not going to play around warp, well, now it's going to be a hit. That's the thing. He really should have done that at full health so that at least then the warp doesn't just kill him outright. Now it's going to lead to a knockdown here. That's going to be really rough there. Only going to have 70% on the Cypher highest. And then the lowest is going to be about 62, 64, 67, about that number. Not the worst, but definitely not the best either. Could have, if only that patient hook had been played a little bit in a different order. But nonetheless, we're going to see first officer already here.
Oh, swinging for that first officer, not yet finding him. Yeah, patient may have to try and rebound with this last hook here at these 2 pallets. Still using the watch, not rescuing just yet. Okay, took a hit,
Beautiful
and
patience.
We're going to split up. Oh,
look at that
patient's
hook
still
value.
going for that 4-stop.
Dropping down. I probably wouldn't have dropped down. I probably would have went down the stairs, just because you don't want to go in a direction of the Hunter. But nonetheless, it's fine. I just don't think how long. I just don't know how long he's going to live here, unfortunately. Especially with that window block. That's going to block up a whole window boost. That's critical. He really needed to escape using that. And just like that, Kuroshimo, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, blocked off the window just to prevent that transition from happening. So very good identification from him there. And just like that, he's still in a pretty good lead here. He could definitely win this game with a well-timed warp here on the Cypher side.
Yeah, for sure. Patient, looks like the Antiquarian is trying to go for the save, but maybe difficult. Waxers has full presence, and there isn't much Patient can do after... actually, backdoor rescue by the first officer.
Indeed,
that was really good
rescue
by the survivors. Good coordination.
Oh, definitely, that was. But I don't know if you guys noticed there was a long time where no one was decoding there for at least like 20 seconds. That is a pretty big problem. By the way, the one downside of blocking out the windows as Waxers is you can't see where the survivor is going anymore. So it made it a little bit easier for the patient to just kind of rely on his teammate, be like, hey, he's coming from this side. Don't go this way. Okay, and he can be like, okay, but the Hunter doesn't know where he is on the other hand. So made it a lot easier. Guys, look at this. The Hunter's running out of wax, and he needs to hurry up. He needs to hurry up because this patient's wax is going to run out. It's going to run out right now if he doesn't get a hit. And it does run out, unfortunately. Oh, my God.
But unfortunately, he gets hit regardless. Maybe Antiquarian can pull something out here and potentially harass and keep that patient alive. It actually ends up eating a hit as well.
It's kind of tough without flywheel because those round the corner hits become a lot harder because of that. Just because in this kind of area, it would be a lot nicer to have. Okay, well, she can still jump over these pallets if she wants to. using the flute, but just not worth committing at this point, honestly. There's just no way to get close to him without also having to use a lot of stick to protect yourself, unfortunately. Kind of like with forward. You don't want to use all your ball to protect yourself when you're trying to protect someone, because then it kind of defeats the purpose. Look at that warp here. Warping on the first officer, getting a watch out. I wouldn't be surprised if he wore back at this point. Yeah, because there's no point chasing this first officer who's going to kite him off for the next 30 seconds. So I say that's a good choice from Kuro. Nonetheless, though, he's going to have that server to himself. We're going to see what has to happen here. The Stars just have to secure a little bit of a kite here. But like I said, they didn't decode as much earlier, which means they have to do a really good kite now. Antiquarian already getting 57, 90. Oh, it's not looking great. She does have... Look at that increased stun, by the way. Look how long she stuns right there. She definitely has great power. No way she doesn't. Oh my goodness. Come on, get that hit. Yes, let's go, Kuro. You were so close. Not that I'm biased, but it would have hurt my soul. It would have hurt my soul. Because as a Hunter player,
it's looking like a tie. I mean, look at the ciphers right now. Cypher is pretty much getting to primed, and Embalmer can't really get stuffed here. I mean, if he just spawns his coffin, he should be able to save regardless. Just means that he'll probably go down for the.
He didn't have hot wax. He didn't have hot wax. That's why he didn't.
Yeah, no hot wax. So
exactly.
Seems like this is potentially a tie game for the CNCE survivors.
Indeed. So, I mean, this was a very clean game from the Hunter at the start, but the survivors out here, despite not having as much decode early on, still managed to pull out a pretty good end game here with 3 survivors realistically still up. Antiquarian still has another chair, so he can't realistically leave without a risk of someone rescuing. He is doing a really good mind game here, though. Look at that beautiful mind game, getting her in a position where he can easily go left and right.
So,
oh my goodness, you're right.
Yeah, the coffin's not too far away. So...
Yeah, it's not bad, but what it means is just more time wasted. Look at this. She knows that if she runs for the palace, she's going to immediately go down. So look at this. She's wasting more time by running in this direction. It does lead to a also fast down, but it took longer as the difference. So that's a pretty big difference right there. Also, the Embalmer just needs to escape here for Saucer. Also just needs to escape for Saucer. Did the gate. Embalmer's almost at the gate. Can he make it out? He easily made it out. Look at that. He's so far away already. They have plenty of distance already. So that was really good. Just a really good distraction from the Embalmer there. I mean, what can I say, right? They did really well towards the end there. Just really played well to help their teammate out, help each other out. Hey, they deserved it right there.
Yeah, it was looking like a win for the wax artists, but yeah, that coordination and also just, like the ciphers go by really quickly with accelerated, and the cipher was far enough since they chose good ciphers and they weren't able to get cipher locked there that, without any interruptions, the cipher got primed really, really quickly on Antiquarian's first chair. So, Embalmer, even though he doesn't have board time, he doesn't need to save again. And the coffin as well, just wasting more time so they can guarantee Embalmer getting out of the gate. So yeah, played really well by the survivors. Again, early game was pretty good for the Hunter. It's just that at the end there, he couldn't block off that cipher. So really nothing he could do there to prevent the cipher from popping.
Indeed. Real quick, though, I also want to mention, you guys gotta remember, against Hunters like Wax Artists, we didn't get to see it because obviously we can't see stuff that the survivors played around, but a lot of mistakes happen against Wax Artists when you leave the last 3 ciphers on a Moonlit on the same side of the map. People don't know this. Maybe you guys don't know this. But 3 ciphers always spawn on the left side, 3 ciphers always spawn on the right side, and then 1 cipher spawns at bridge. What does that mean? That means if the survivors do 4 ciphers and there's 1 cipher remaining to do, you could end up with all 3 ciphers remaining on one side of the map, which means it's so much easier for a Hunter like Wax Artist or Dream Witch to just constantly patrol those ciphers and block them off constantly. But we didn't see that this game. Why? Because the survivors managed to do at least 1 cipher on each side of the map. So then they have, when they're doing the last cipher, they can either choose to do the left side or the right side. And you guys saw that we had the first officer there with his cipher across the river. And that is really what they need to guarantee that the Hunter doesn't have such an easy time blocking them off. Now, honestly, he still could and block off that cipher by throwing wax across the river. But nonetheless, it's still a lot harder because even if he blocks it off, the survivor can just stand there or body block the cipher using their body. If he tries to shoot it with like just regular wax, so he always has to use 1000. It's just really expensive after a while, constantly having to do that with not much reward because it requires him to break off from his chase to go after that survivor across the river. So really good there. Just something we didn't see there because obviously for us to see that they would have to cipher lock themselves, but Something that they did there, but we will not get to see because they played well. So well done from Survivor's side.
Yeah,
Just
the
something to
only
think about.
potential thing is maybe if the Waxers was able to bring the Antiquarian to a closer chair, had a chance to lock it off there, but still, yeah, not much that really the Wax Artist can do. I mean, Balmer just comes to save, and then, Wax Artist has to put his focus back on the Antiquarian. So, that cipher probably would have been primed either way. Yeah, just if, they did good communication, cipher-wise, so they didn't cipher lock themselves. But looks like we're going in with a Cord Priestess band right away from CNCE's Hunter. Yeah, looking
Yep.
like I think RK needs to win in order to get a tie for this matchup and go into round 3.
Yeah, that is looking what it's gonna be like. They could either hold on. Let me think about this because they just tied. So okay, they can either the F RK is right now losing, but that doesn't mean that they can't go to a round 3 if they tie. If they tie round 2, they will still be in a losing position in terms of points. But by tying round 2, it means that no team won in 2 rounds, meaning that we do move on to a round 3. So at least they have a chance to still win in round 3. So tie here is fine for RK. They'll still be down 2 points because
Yes.
of round 1, but at least they'll move on to round 3. So tie is fine. Win is preferable though, because then they would even up the points, and that would make it so that now round 3 would be a lot more in anyone's favor now. So we will have to see. Opera Singer band, by the way, along with Mercenary, Prospector, good at harassing. Mercenary is great at rescue. Well, what can I say, right? These are just good survivors. Maybe not the Prospector. Like, he's not as reliable, but if you go up against something like a clerk or something like that has a hard time with harass, it can definitely be one of the best survivors to have on your team.
Yeah, honestly, interesting pick strategy from the survivors is that they've been one by one picking off those rescuers. And honestly, not a bad strategy. I mean, now you're leaving, I think, for round 3, Gravekeeper and Wilding and Journalist for, one of your last picks for Rescuer. But yeah, they've given themselves a pretty good team comp. Merc, Prospector, Acrobat, Barmaid seems pretty strong and good potential for a win on Moonlit. Acrobat's really strong on Moonlit, and then we've got Prospector in case, somebody goes down. We've got that Prospector to maybe put things back at a 4-man endgame or a 3-man endgame, depending on, what position they're in. And Barmaid can easily heal that Merc. Merc's a great rescuer, of course, we know that. So yeah, we'll see what this Hunter responds with. They banned opera, so maybe, I don't recognize the Hunter either, so maybe they have something like Ivy, have something like Wheel, maybe Wax again. Seeing a lot of Wax, I guess, in this matchup.
Yeah, Shadow would be scary here. Barmaid does counter Shadow quite a bit, and it also helps her teammates out. Obviously, I think Psychologist is better in terms of just pure healing because of the distances on this map. They definitely would have preferred to have a global healer like Psychologist over Barmaid where you have to walk up to. But she is very against Shadow, per se. I mean, then again, not as good against Wax Artist. Gamekeeper, interesting. That does mean Gamekeeper can get his hook faster than Barmaid can drink. So that is something to watch out for. Acrobat and Prospector. I don't remember if Prospector's magnet triggers before a hit rate, does it? I don't think it does.
No, if he gets
it
hooked,
doesn't.
I think he can get hit and he'll just reset the attack recovery. So definitely need to watch out for that.
Indeed, indeed. How many files we seeing here? We see 2 files. Okay, so 60, well, 50% of the time, assuming that he chases Mercenary. But if he doesn't chase Mercenary, there's a 66% chance here his target has Fly. Obviously, you can't know that right now, but I'm going to imagine his Gamekeeper, after he hooks someone, hopefully he will wait on the swing so that he doesn't put himself in a huge detrimental distance loss when he swings immediately and they just flywheel it after a hook. So that's not preferable. Also, additionally, after Gamekeeper's recent buff from a while back, you can no longer flywheel with a hook. It counts as hooking onto a wall if you hit a flywheel. So it just pulls you towards the survivors and then you have a second hook. Assuming that you didn't already shoot the first hook into a wall. In that case, flywheeling the hook would be pretty good still, because he won't have a hook afterwards. Anyway, I'm getting way too specific. Nonetheless, Gamekeeper going to be spawning next to the Prospector here. We might see him immediately chase the Prospector, and you know what? He probably has a warp expecting him to take the roller coaster. Here's the thing. If Prospector is thinking ahead of time, he's going to take the roller coaster at least 50 seconds before warp is up, because that's how long warp takes to go up. So he might choose to kite around roller coaster and then go on the roller coaster. Or he might just get on right away. That's fine too. Either way, there's no way he can afford to take that while warp is up. So he needs to take that within the first 50 seconds. But we'll see here.
Yes.
I'm commentating with Ray here, and we'll see it. Round 2, second half. RK trying to get a win here, but a tie would get them into round 3. We'll see what happens here.
All right, straight for the prospector. I'm not sure, but Merc can turn off the stop for him. Actually trying to hide instead of go for the coaster or kite around the stop. So might not be this much. Oh, missing the first hook hit, kiting around this one pallet.
That was pretty critical, missing both those hooks there on a wall that and unfortunately not getting a stun. He barely missed the tree and unfortunately attracted the hunter towards him. That was probably just nerves right there, and it might cost him.
That hook! This is a really early down for that gamekeeper. And even if the prospector wanted to go for first stop roller coaster there was a trap on the stairs. So may not have been possible for him to get there so quickly.
Look at him thinking ahead of time.
Thinking ahead.
I would not have thought of that. That's definitely good for him to do because that just saves him 10 seconds later on. He gets 10 extra seconds. I would not have thought about that. That's a good thing to pick up right there as a gamekeeper player. If you were playing gamekeeper, dang, that's a good thing to know ahead of time. If you're just by a gate, just do that right then and there. That's a good idea. But anyway, we don't see a before half rescue here.
Gonna be after half rescue.
Is he trying to hide it in the grass? Anyway, look at this. We're going to see a pretty clean elbow pad. Misses the hook
right there.
Misses the blink too.
For a terror shock.
Ooh.
That means Prospector has a small chance to rebound. Yeah, with that, without blink anymore. Use the magnet. Maybe get on the coaster since they know that he has blink now. No warp. But doesn't look like it. Gonna get hooked here. Nice flywheel. Potentially
gonna get on Ray.
First stop?
No, he doesn't.
I think he can't outside. Oh
yeah, you're right. Wait, but time ran out. Anyway, yeah, you're right. But nonetheless.
Okay, possible to go for the tram, get a pallet stun here and then go straight for it.
Oh, I don't know about that, Ray. He needs a pallet stun if he wants to go for that. Oh boy, this is a rough spot because he can hook over these walls, by the way. All of these. Oh, he doesn't want to fall. That would have been a good play. The good thing from Prospector, but Gamekeeper didn't fall for it, unfortunately. Dang, that's tough.
Yeah, still somewhat of an okay rebound. They're getting those ciphers done. Unfortunately, Prospector will exit the game, so obviously, the best they could do is somehow get a 3-man here, but 4-man's definitely out of the question. And going back towards 2-story.
He dropped
really early out of that 2-story building. Oh, he's trapping it up below the window.
I don't think that trap hits the window, unfortunately. He put it too close to the wall, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks really close. Okay, Merc elephant towards God Kite. Gonna have to do really good kite here to put the survivors in a good position.
Oh, that's a clean hit. Yes, that's a clean hit from the gamekeeper. Using his last and final elbow pad real quick there, unfortunately. It's all because he unfortunately just dropped down the window a little bit too early. I didn't realize the Thunder would come back. That was, on paper, seemed like, why is he doing that? Oh my goodness, he can hook over that too? That's kind of scary. That it just walks right through the wall like that. Look at that. Anyway, Mercenary already thinking ahead.
So we've got teleport on the barmaid. Getting a hook hit here. Big flywheel out, but flywheel perfectly at the right time.
To the mind games, Ray. Look at that. Purposely didn't wait. It purposely waited on the flywheel and then used it. Oh my goodness. And she's going to get the heal off here too. It only takes 9 seconds there to heal. Okay, and there you guys go.
This hook here. But yeah, survivors really pulling out their best here. Maybe Barbie can cut a little bit longer so that cipher can get decoded. They only have 2 left, so... yeah, looking like they could definitely get a pretty solid tie if that barmaid can keep kiting here.
Considering about how bad of a position they look like they were in, I think they did a really good job. Ranging from the Prospector rebounding to then the Mercenary able to kite it out and just get on the roller coaster in the end to the barmaid using such a nice drink there, knowing that it's not going to matter to drink at half health. She can just drink at quarter health because she's anyway dead to a hook plus basic hit at quarter health as well. So... realizing that, she just drank the drink early, and there you guys go. But look at the gamekeeper here. he's a smart. He's doing a smart game sense decision right here, blocking off the cipher from being decoded. Doesn't care about the chair because he knows the other person has to get off their cipher anyway. Unfortunately, I will say here, not getting so fortunate with the hook. Mercenary mind gaming like crazy here. So on paper, really good idea, but he needs to knock down this mercenary. There we go. Does he get a stun here? He does.
Pallet
Oh my
stun.
goodness.
Perfect. Really saving that Merc there from taking a hit. And the gamekeeper's just going to commit to the Merc and not go back for the chair. The Cypher right beside the Merc's cutting area is 90%, but we'll see a teleport actually back to the chair. So maybe that barmaid, if she goes down, it's going to be it for her.
Yeah.
Acrobat trying to support here. Oh, she gets caught in the trap though.
Just go around. Or that works too. I was thinking he'll go around just to be safe, but that's cool too. He can be a free hit on Acrobat here. Okay, nice. For the Hunter here, of course, gonna try to get a tie here, and yep, that is a guaranteed tie. Barmaid is done on chair. Again, not what he wanted with the Mercenary, I'm sure he definitely expected a little bit better considering where the Mercenary was kiting. But nonetheless, look at that, like, that well-played teleport. I bet you he saw the Survivor was, like, wiggling. And that animation is the animation that happens when someone's rescuing. Really nice bomb from the Acrobat there, by the way. But anyway, I bet you that Gamekeeper actually saw that wiggle animation of someone rescuing the chair. And that's probably why he teleported so last second right there. So probably that if he did that, that was really good from him. Really
really well timed teleport. And the other Cypher's only 66%. Oh, we'll see the Acrobat go down. And he can just pick up, chair that Acrobat, and Merc needs to try his best, hopefully, to get dungeon, but looking like this might be CNCE's game here.
Indeed. I mean, Gamekeeper here had a great start here. RK, of course, having a great start. This is the RK's. No, this is not RK. Well, RK didn't have a great start, but they ended up trying to have a good rebound. They had a good rebound, honestly, with the combination of their Survivor team. But then there's their Hunter here, CNC's Hunter, having an even better way to counter it later on, outplaying even better with that teleport. That was super clean. We'll talk about it all later, but right now, we'll see if this Mercenary can, like, snag his way out of here. It's really hard because look at this. He can always hook on that wall. And just like that, it is going to be GG right there. Getting a 4-man elimination for CNCE. That's going to
really
be
well
rough.
played by the Gamekeeper. Yeah, Merc had no items there as well, so not much he could do in the area. I'm not sure. Dungeon wasn't also at Godkite, so it was only a matter of time until, if the Gamekeeper even just traps up the entire Godkite, it's just going to be kind of the end for RK there.
Indeed. Looking back at the match, definitely probably wouldn't have been my first recommendation to hide at the start when you can see the footsteps. But nonetheless, still getting a really good rebound later on. Not like the greatest, but I think them all combining together, RK still had a chance there. Definitely, but then we saw that game sense from CNCE's Hunter shine. When he left that chair, he probably saw the site where the ciphers were shaking. Probably saw one shaking across the map, and then he sees the Mercenary cipher near him shaking. And as long as it's not the person at full health, he can safely go after the Mercenary, and only the other person across the map can rescue them. So at that point, he knows he can go after the Mercenary. Now, I'm sure he would have loved to knock down the Mercenary, as I said, but the whole point is just to prevent the cipher from being decoded. He knows that the person across the map who has to rescue cannot decode, so as long as he goes after the other person decoding, they have no chance of finishing any more than 3 ciphers that they had already done at that moment. And on top of that, Barmaid can only get rescued after half because of how much the survivors committed to doing the ciphers. And that's what really led to a well-played teleport there, knowing that, well, hey, they had to go across the map for that cipher. They can't do it anymore. I can just go teleport on Barmaid. If I knock her down, as long as I knock her down, even though I didn't knock down that Mercenary, I will have a guaranteed tie here and very likely a win. At that point, once you have 2 people knocked down, or killed, I should say, before the gates ever open, you pretty much have a very good chance at getting a 3% elimination. That's what the Hunter was looking for. That was his win condition. I'm yapping, but you guys get the idea. Yeah. I believe CNCE takes the win here, Ray, because of that.
12-5. They played really, really well. Yeah. Unfortunately, RK couldn't respond with that tie or with that win. Like such a formidable Hunter, Gamekeeper, even like they just played it really well. And, like I mentioned before, Moonlit, it's hard to get across that map and do rescues since it's so far away. Like, you're basically guaranteeing that save be after half. unless you're someone like Merc or Cheerleader, like someone who can get that close that distance way faster. And so that really put Gamekeeper in a much better position. And yeah, that'll be it for this matchup. Congratulations, CNCE, for winning this one. And good luck to both teams in the future of this group stage.
Indeed. Well played to both sides there. We saw some good plays from both sides there. Nonetheless, though, we are going to see only one team move on, but that doesn't mean that the other team has to stop playing. They can keep playing and they can keep improving, and I will guarantee they will see progress as long as they stick together and they work together. It's really all about finding your team that you love to play with, because if you guys have a passion, you can definitely keep going all the way no matter what and get through it all. I mean, that's what carried B4U. Fun fact, they all started out as friends. They didn't actually even start out as a team together. They just met as friends. Like Paul, people like Paul or like Roland, they weren't originally on the team. They just met them through being friends, which is really goes to show that you can go a far length as long as you stick together, you have a passion for each other. I mean, that's really what's most important. So
Yeah, and I
in
mean,
either case,
like,
though, yep.
this isn't the end for RK since this is still the group stage, so it's a group stage and then it'll
Oh,
move on to bracket. So yeah, RK still has a lot of chances. It's just one matchup in the whole group stage. So yeah, right now it doesn't mean that RK is out, but yeah, CNC did win this matchup, so good for them. Hopefully, you know, they'll win
I
their next
see.
ones as well. And
I
our other
see.
one, they'll move on to another matchup and hopefully they'll win that one.
Well, that's awkward from my end then, but yeah, nonetheless, though, RK still has more chances in that case. And, all right, guys. I believe are there going to be more matches today, Ray, or is this was just the only one? Are there going to be more?
That's it for us. So yeah, thank you for commentating with me for this
Indeed,
one,
no
Psyche.
problem. No problem. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed watching and seeing how everyone plays. I mean, it was a lot of fun just being a part of the tournament scene in general. I love when people play and just go to show that they love to play competitive or just show that there's a scene for it. That's really the most important part.
Yeah, so I think that'll be it for us. Yeah, once again, it was me, Ray, commentating with our special guest, Psyche. And yeah,
Let's go.
congratulations again. And you know, good luck to both teams as well for the future matches. And yeah, thanks for watching the stream.
Thank you guys for coming along. Have a good rest of your day.